So today we're gonna do kind of like a yoga fusion strength routine or practice, if you will. In case you've been feeling any sort of weird energy or anxiety, this is gonna be really good to kind of work through that and maybe ease into a bit of quiet. Let's get into it. So coming onto our mat, we're gonna bring our feet just under our hips to start out, starting in a standing position. Let's take a nice deep breath, inhaling the shoulders up, back, and down, taking our hands a little bit wider, palms open to the front. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth. Pulling the core in just a little bit, finding a bit of strength in the midsection. Drawing the shoulder blades back just slightly. Now we're going to inhale the hands up and overhead. Pausing. Exhaling the hands back down through center. And we're just going to do that a couple more times, bringing a little bit of a bend into the knees as we inhale the hands up and over. Exhale it down. Inhale, bringing it up. Exhale, flowing it down. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale, reach up nice and high. Exhale, take it down. Let's just do it one more time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bringing the hands back down to heart center, pausing. Reset our shoulders. Awesome. Let's start to bring a little bit of movement into the legs. Coming up, lifting each heel one at a time. Kind of warming up the feet, warming up the toes. At the same time, let's roll our wrists. Good, let's try and reverse it. Feels super weird, but let's do it anyways. Awesome, we're gonna keep building on warming up the ankles a little bit. We're gonna do some circles with the ankles, some ankle rolls. Now, after you do one more on each side, we're gonna bring the toes forward, curling the toes forward over, warming up the top of the feet, feeling that nice little bit of a stretch. Going at your own pace with this. You can take this a little bit quicker, maybe move a little bit slower. If it feels really good to kind of hold it, that's okay. But we're not pushing anything too far just yet. Awesome. Let's shake it out. Shake out those wrists again. Take your feet just a little bit wider, about shoulder width now, turning the toes out slightly. Inhale the hands up and overhead. Exhale, as we do, we're gonna lower the hips down just a little bit, not all the way, and then rise back up. Again, just lowering the hips just a little bit, drawing the shoulders back, rise up. You might wanna adjust your feet to step a little bit wider. We're gonna sink lower this time, lowering down, rising all the way back up. Inhaling and exhaling, bringing the hands back to heart center. Heel toe the feet back under the hips, whatever way you want. Listen, there's no rules today. If you wanna dance, you dance. In fact, I think we should dance every day. All right, we're gonna do some sun salutations to kind of keep warming things up, feel a little bit more heat, get a little bit more warmth into the body. If you're still feeling very like a lot of energy and like twitchy, everything's gonna help, all right? So we're gonna come to the top of our mat, feet come under the hips, inhaling the hands up and overhead. As you exhale, folding forward, hinging at the hips, coming all the way down. On your next inhale, rising up about halfway, flattening out the back. Exhale, setting the hands down. We're gonna step the right foot back first, and then the left. Pausing for a moment. Now inhale, as you exhale, we're gonna lower down. You can go down through a full flow or coming down onto the knees, chest, chin. And then inhale, coming up into little cobra. Exhale, pressing it back. Coming up through a plank and then all the way back into downward dog. I apologize if you heard those lovely elbow cracks. Right here, we're gonna walk out the feet a little bit, taking the dog for a walk. Otis might be just out of camera view right now, and he would definitely be rather on a walk right now, but you know, we got yoga to do first, or strength, or whatever this is today. We gotta move. I really like lifting both feet up, coming up onto the toes and pressing the heels down. Doing that a couple times. Inhaling as you rise, exhale as you set it down. Now pausing, inhaling, gazing forward, bending in the knees. We're gonna step the left foot up first, and then the right, bringing it back under the hips, setting the hips high, and then slowly rolling all the way up. When you come to the top, resetting the shoulders. We're gonna do that a few more times. We're gonna be moving a little bit quicker. If you need to take this slower, please do. Listen to your own body. I'm kind of here as a guide. You do not need to match my pace in any way, shape, or form. But if you're feeling like it's a good pace for you, then I will continue to instruct. Inhale, taking the hands up and overhead. Exhaling, folding forward, hinging at the hips, setting the hands down. Inhale, rising up about halfway. Exhale, setting the hands down, stepping the left foot back first this time, and then the right. Inhale, feeling a little bit of connection to your core first. As you exhale, coming down, and then inhale, rising up into a cobra or an upward facing dog. Knees are lifted, legs are engaged. Inhale, lifting the hips up and back for a nice downward dog. Taking a few moments here just to walk it out. Getting a little bit more movement, warming everything up. Coming back to stillness. Inhale, gazing forward, this time stepping the right foot forward, and then the left. Setting the hips high first, and then inhale, roll it all the way up, reset, and let's repeat. Inhale, setting the hands up and overhead. Exhale, flowing down. Inhale, rising up about halfway. Exhale, setting the hands, now you can step your right foot back or popping it back, taking it all the way down. Inhale, rising up into an upward dog or cobra. Sending those hips up and back for a nice downward dog. Inhale, look forward, stepping or hopping to the front of the mat. Hips high first. Inhale, roll it all the way up. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, floating down. Always focusing in on your breath, finding that nice flat back, setting the hands down, hop or step it back, floating all the way down, floating or flowing, whichever works best for you. Sending those hips up and back for a nice downward dog. Inhale to look forward, step or hop it to the front of the mat. Hips rise, and then everything else comes up. Taking a moment here, resetting the shoulders, hands come down by your sides, palms face forward. Inhaling in through the nose, out through the mouth. Noticing any warmth that you're feeling. If you're feeling a little bit of shortness of breath right now, that's okay. I mean, the idea is to kind of keep your breath controlled, but like I said, there's a lot of weird energy happening. So just listen to your body and do what you need to do. Awesome. Let's kind of shake it out, shake it out. We're gonna come to the center of our mat. Hi, Oscar. Are you here to help? Do you wanna do some yoga too? Yeah? Awesome. All right. So we kind of did a little bit of this earlier, but we're gonna come back to our goddess pose. And we're gonna be taking it a little bit deeper and maybe holding it a bit longer. So our feet come a little bit wider than the shoulders, taking a nice wide stance, turning the toes out a little bit, weights in the heels. Your knees are gonna be tracking with your toes. Inhale, the hands up and overhead. As you exhale, bringing the elbows wide, lowering the hips, sending the knees out over those toes, drawing the shoulders back, rising back up. Exhaling, coming down. Inhale, rising up. This next one, we're gonna hold it a little bit longer, coming all the way down as far as you feel comfortable, and hold. Feel the strength that you have in your body right now. Just so you know, strength can feel like shakiness. Sometimes it translates into your brain as, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it. I'm still doing it. Even with all of these thoughts I'm having, I'm still doing it. Maybe I am kind of strong. Not bad, right? All right, inhale, rising up. Exhale, bringing the hands down in front of the center of the heart. Rolling the shoulders back. Heel toe your feet under the hips. We're gonna go into a chair pose. You can stay facing forward. I'm just gonna turn just so you can see things a little bit better. Can you hear Otis? Colin has the door closed and he has bacon on the other side of the door, and Otis is not happy about it. Inhale, the hands up and overhead, sending those hips back and down, weights in the heels, nice and strong through the core, strong in the back, nice long spine. Inhale, rise it up. And send it right back down. pausing. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, holding it this time just a little bit longer for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rising up. Exhale, bringing the hands back down. Lovely. So much more fun than sitting in a real chair, obviously. All right, so you're gonna repeat that, or we're gonna make things a little bit more dynamic, being very mindful of our knees. So we're gonna come down, coming down, lowering onto our knees, keeping the toes curled. Let's all just take a moment here and just pausing, just getting those feet warmed up, hips are over the heels, shoulders are over the hips. If this is not something that you've done before or haven't done in a while, this might feel quite intense on the feet, and you might decide, maybe I'm just gonna stick around here, coming off of it, shaking it out, tapping the feet, and just kind of working with the feet. Or you have the option to kind of stick with the chair pose. Or we're gonna fuse the two together. So hands are gonna come forward, you're gonna float those hips. I'm kind of exaggerating, but you're floating those hips back, sending the heels back, coming up into chair pose, and then coming back down, lowering the knees. Trying to do this as softly as possible. Sending those, whoops. And if you fall a little bit, that's okay. Just reset, find your focus, and then coming back into it. Sending those hips back, heels down, rising up, and then floating back and through. Always coming into your breath and your core. Otis, people are allowed to walk by our house. Rise up. Weird energy, right? Breathe. It's okay, bud. We're okay. One more. And release. Coming down, floating the knees down, pausing, resetting the shoulders. If this is too intense, feel free to come out of it. Now we're all just gonna give the feet just a little bit of a release before we come back here. Bringing the hands down under the shoulders, releasing the feet, and do a little pitter patter. Go a little harder, and then soft. All right, curling the feet again, coming back onto the toes. You're gonna come back and you're gonna hold it here, or we're gonna kind of do a bit of an in-between. So you can use a wall or a chair or a dog to help you lift the knees, staying up on the curled toes. Otis, just move just a little bit. There. You barely moved, bud. Come over here. All right, cool. Come here, Otis. Why don't you sit? Thank you. Okay, when you're ready, bring your hands to heart center and just holding it here. Coming into your breath, strong in the core, strengthening the feet, shoulders are back and down, nice and relaxed. You can keep hold of that wall if you want to. Your dog, if your dog is not moving. To come out of this, you're gonna bring your hands down to the floor and lower onto your knees first, or I challenge you to come up into a chair, rise all the way up. If you're already on the floor, just stay there. We're gonna come down to meet you. Floating the hands down, bringing yourself down into a standing forward fold. Pausing here for a moment. Inhaling to half lift, back's nice and strong. Then setting the feet, hands down. Stepping back if you have the space to come into a plank. Lowering the knees and coming into a tabletop. All right, so we're gonna bring our wrists under our shoulders. Our knees are under our hips. Shoulders are back and down, pulling the core in, creating a little bit of space through the upper back by lifting the chest. We're gonna send our right leg out long, flex the foot, curling the toes towards your knees. From here, we're starting at that base, and our base is our hip height. We're gonna send that leg up a little bit higher and back down. Lift and lower. Syncing up with your breath, inhaling to lift, exhale to bring it back. Staying engaged through your core. If you find you're twisting a lot, just reduce the range of motion. This does not need to be big, but we do want that leg nice and active as we lift. Let's do one more. And and release, bringing that knee back down. We're gonna take it to the opposite side, sending the left leg out nice and long this time. Oops. Once again, nice active leg, bringing the toes in towards the knees, shoulders are reset, a little bit of space to the chest, and then begin lifting and lowering. Trying to keep those hips as square to the front as you can without opening or twisting too much right now. Eye gaze is slightly ahead, so we haven't dropped our head or tucked our chin. We're not looking to see what's in front of us. We're just keeping things nice and neutral. Let's do one more. And release, lowering the knee down, sending those hips back. And then we're gonna shift our hips to one side, feet to the other, sending our feet out long in front. All right, now we're gonna do some fun leg lifts from a seated position. Fun, I said. I did say fun. All right, so let's shift our hips back just a little bit. So yeah, a little bit tall. Basically, we don't wanna be collapsed. At no point do we wanna be collapsed right now. So we're sitting up, we're finding a little bit of length through our spine. Hands come down by our sides. You can keep your hands pretty close to the hips or quite far forward. It's gonna have a little bit more to do with your flexibility here. So just find what works for you. We're gonna start just lifting one leg at a time. Right leg's gonna lift first. We're gonna lift the right up and down. Again, this is flexibility, mobility, and strength. You might find your leg lifts much higher than mine. Work with what you have and release. Let's do the left leg. You might also find one side feels a little different than the other. Maybe better, but different, all the same. One more, and release. Now we're gonna try lifting both legs at the same time. Staying grounded through the hands. I like to be up on my fingers. Lift and lower. Two more. And release. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Beautiful. We're gonna send the hips forward just a little bit so we have some space to lie down on our backs. Coming all the way down, keeping our legs bent. Heels are gonna come under the knees. So just be mindful, the heels don't need to come in super close because we don't wanna have our knees hanging past our heels. We want a nice, good alignment here. It's what's gonna feel better. It's what's gonna find a good challenge and the right kind of challenge. We're gonna tuck our shoulders. We're gonna lift up into a bridge. Inhale, and as you exhale, pressing into the heels, squeezing the glutes, setting the hips nice and high. You can roll the shoulders under a little bit more if that feels comfortable. If you have the shoulder mobility and it feels okay to bring your hands together and tuck the shoulders a little bit further, please do so. From here, I want you to focus on keeping those hips lifted, lifting the chest towards the chin, and then the chin towards the sky. And continue holding, or we're gonna lift the heels, coming up onto the balls of our feet just a little bit, and then lowering our heels back down. The point with this and the focus is everything else about this move does not change. We're simply lifting a little bit higher, lowering down. As you lift, you're squeezing into the glutes to help, lowering down. Let's do this 3 more times. Continuing to breathe. Last one. Lowering the heels, releasing the hands, slowly lowering the hips, as slow as you can. Good. Releasing the shoulders. Now we're gonna send the legs nice and long. Feet are coming up over the hips. And then we're gonna draw the knees in towards the chest. And then send the legs nice and high, and repeat. You can bring the hands to the tops of the knees to kind of encourage them to come in a little bit closer. Give yourself maybe a little knee hug, if that feels all right. Moving nice and slow and smooth. Otis is having none of this today. The mic probably didn't pick that up, but he would just groan. Like, oh, Mom, stop it. All right, let's do this one more time. Good, now sending the legs high again. Taking the hands out by your sides. Inhale, and as you exhale, peeling it up. Pause, and then lowering it back down. And let's repeat, rising up and lower. If having the legs straight is not feeling awesome for you today, you can keep the legs bent. 3, 2, last one. Lowering the shoulders down first, bending the legs, then lowering the feet. From here, we're gonna do a little windshield wiper with the knees, setting both knees in one direction, coming back through center, and then the opposite direction. You can keep the hands low, or if it feels all right, you can bring your hands out to a T formation, or in my case, field post formation, because heater, wall, obstacles. We work with obstacles in our home, small spaces, but we make it work. One more in each direction. Awesome. Coming back to center, bringing the knees into your chest, hugging in for a moment. We're gonna make our way up and over to a tabletop. You can do this by rolling to one side and then pressing up, or you can take your hands to the back of your thighs, noticing if you feel some fur on there, maybe brush it off, and then start to rock it up and back. You can do this as many times as feels good. Being mindful you don't kick anything behind you. And then coming up and through onto your hands and knees, coming into a tabletop. Wrists come under the shoulders, shoulders are back and down, knees come under the hips. We're gonna curl the toes, we're gonna engage the core, we're gonna do a little hovering tabletop. Take a nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, lifting the knees, and then release. We're gonna do another short one. Once again, inhale, exhale, lift, pause, and then release. The next one we're gonna hold for 5. Inhale, exhale, lift, hold, 5, 4, keep that core engaged, 2, 1, and release. Good job. Coming back onto the tops of the feet, sending those hips back. You can come into a little child's pose. Knees can be wide or close together. Bringing the forehead down, keeping the eyes open right now. I feel like it just sounded very Canadian there. Open. I don't think I've ever heard myself sound like that before. Inhale, gazing forward, rising back up. Coming back to that tabletop first. Curling the toes. We're gonna make our way into a downward dog, but we're gonna do this a little bit more focused and intentional, kind of melding what we just did and working our way up. So inhale, exhale, lifting the knees first, then sending the hips high, heels go back, pulling that core in, rising up and back, adjusting as you need to come into a nice downward dog. It's been a little while since we've been in one of these, so feel free to walk it out again. Find a little bit of movement. And then coming back into stillness. Just for a moment, don't worry, I'm not gonna make you stay still for too long just yet. All right, so we're gonna be moving from a plank into a toe touch, back and forth between our downward dog to a plank. Starting out, we're gonna inhale, coming forward onto the toes, pausing at that plank, then sending the hips back, heels down, downward dog. If you wanna add to this, you're coming into the plank, and then as you come back, you're lifting one arm, sending it to the opposite toe, then back to the plank, and now take it to the opposite side. Whichever variation, whichever level you're working with, focus is on pulling that core up and back as you shift forward and back. Feeling yourself almost hovering, like someone's got strings under your hips. They're lifting you nice and high. Reach, coming back. Nice, good plank position. Hips and shoulders in good alignment. Let's do one more on each side. You guys are doing fantastic. Coming back to a plank, pausing here for just a moment. Now lowering the knees, coming down onto the elbows. So the elbows replace where the hands were. Tops of the feet come flat. Bring your hands together for a moment. Send those hips back just a little bit. And then coming back. All right, so we're gonna come into a hover rock. So you can do this from your knees or your toes. From the knees, you might prefer to just kind of stay still because we don't want to be rocking back and forth too much over the knees. But if it feels all right to come up onto the toes, lifting up from here, we're gonna just shift forward and back. Kind of bring your chin in front of the knuckles to behind. If you haven't already started, join in. Inhale forward, exhale back. Nice long board is your body. Your body is the long board. Inhale and exhale, coming forward onto the toes and pressing back with the heels. 2 more. Last one. And release, sending it back into a child's pose. Once again, knees wide or together, whatever feels best for you. Bringing your forehead down to the mat, keeping your eyes open, please. You can roll your head a little side to side, giving that forehead a bit of a massage. Coming to stillness first. And then slowly dragging your hands in, rising up. Reset your shoulders. Bringing the knees in. If it does not feel comfortable to stay on your knees, bring yourself to a seated position. Just gonna pause here for a moment. Inhale, rise the hands up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands back to the center of the chest. Let's repeat. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release, and pause. Awesome. We're gonna make our way onto our backs again. We are gonna be finishing our sequence on the back, so we are in the home stretch of this. So shifting your hips to one side, sending the legs out to the other, and then bringing the legs out long. You can just make your way down onto your back, or we can add just a little bit more core into this. Coming into Dandasana or staff pose, hands come by your sides, stay up nice and tall, nice active, strong legs. Then send the arms out long in front, and then slowly, as slow as you can, melting backwards until you find your way to your back. Do not rush this. Cat just jumped behind the camera in case you didn't hear that. Slow as you can, nice and controlled. When you're there, relaxing down. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Send the arms up overhead, not overhead, to the sky. Wrists are over the shoulders. We're gonna stretch our fingers as wide as we can and then bring them together, making nice tight fists. And then release, big stretch, tight fists, big stretch, tight fists. Big stretch, tight fists, big stretch, tight fists. I'm gonna stop talking, but that was fun for some reason. And then one more time, nice big stretch. And then just a couple times, moving one finger at a time. A little shake. And now send it overhead if you have the space for it. Nice full body stretch. Inhale, and as you exhale, drawing the knees into your chest. Hugging them in. Inhale, as you exhale, drawing the nose towards the knees. Exhale back down. 2 more times. Last one. And release. Hanging onto your right knee, sending the left leg out long. Coming into a reclining twist. Left hand comes to the right knee, right arm comes out to the side. And then guiding that right knee across the body for a nice reclining twist. Now the key with this, we want to keep the shoulders grounded. If your shoulder starts to lift, come back. Eye gaze can stay up towards the sky, or you can look towards your extended arm. Inhale, rising back up through center. And then we're going to take the right knee out wide towards the right side of our body. You can keep the left hand on the left hip, just kind of help keeping those hips grounded. Inhale, drawing the knee back up to center. Hug it in for a moment. And then release. Sending the right leg out long. Inhaling, exhaling the left knee to bring it in towards the chest first. Then bringing the right hand to the left knee, left arm comes out to the side, guiding the knee across the body for a lovely, I think this is one of my favorite poses, the reclining twist. And this is typically what I do every day, regardless of whether my yoga practice has been consistent or anything like that. This is something that I do because it just feels so freaking good. All right, if you haven't already, you can keep your eye gaze up or you can look towards your extended arm. And then coming back through center by inhaling, bringing the knee back neutral, taking the left hand to the left knee, right arm comes out to the side this time, or you can keep the right hand on that right hip as you bring the left knee wide to the left side. Inhale, bring the knee back to center. Hug it in first. And then release. We're going to bring both our feet flat on the floor, bending our legs, then walking our feet to the width of our mat, or a little bit wider, and then just letting the knees come together for a nice little hip release. Hands can be by your side, out in that T formation, or you can bring the left hand to the heart, right hand to the belly. I find this is very soothing and grounding pose when you bring your hand to your belly and your heart. Even if you're still feeling a little bit of that weird energy we talked about, a little bit of that shakiness or just twitchiness maybe. Even if you're still feeling it, allow yourself to feel it, don't fight it. Focus in on your breath. You can let your eyes close here if it feels okay. Just inhaling in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Keeping your eyes closed, releasing your hands, just bringing your hands to your legs just to help them guide and feel supported. You're going to bring the feet in about hip width. And then walking the feet or sliding the feet out nice and long. Hands come back by your sides, palms face up, tucking the shoulders a little bit, letting the feet just relax out to the side. We've made it. This is our final pose, or savasana, shavasana, however you choose to say it. Allow yourself to have this time of quiet, of stillness, Although we do describe it as being a time for quiet, letting your mind go blank. If your mind is not going blank right now, and if thoughts are coming in, you don't need to fight them. Acknowledge them, listen to them, and then just kind of put them off to the side. Something to return to later, noted. I'll circle back to that when I'm done. If you wish to stay here longer, please do. Otherwise, we're going to slowly start to bring some movement back into the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Your inhale, sending the arms up overhead. Nice full body stretch, like you're just waking up, a little good morning stretch perhaps. And then we're going to make our way to a seated position by rolling over onto our right side first. Pressing that top hand into the floor, sending the top leg out long, slowly rising up, head comes up last. Coming into a nice seated position. Let's bring our hands to our knees. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, rolling the shoulders forward, opening through the upper back. Let's do this just a couple more times, moving at your own pace. We're using your breath as your guide. Then coming back to that nice neutral and tall spine. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you guys so much for doing this with me today. I hope this helped. And bring your hands, your fingers to your forehead. Bowing first to your higher self. And then bowing to each other. Namaste.